and we are here today to talk some about cooking tips for caregivers, or another way to say that is simple meals for care partners. Are you one of the 53 million caregivers in the United States today? That is 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. are caregivers. And that might be a caregiver for a spouse, a parent, a child with disabilities, a sibling, even a neighbor or friend. But caregiving is something that we are seeing even more of, and with that 53 million, that has grown quite a bit since the last records in 2015. But we are also seeing during the COVID-19 or the coronavirus pandemic, there has been an increased need for caregivers. Now, one of the things that we do, and that's very important because we do it every day, is eating. And when we think about nutrition and what it takes to have a healthy body, we know that eating nutritious food and, of course, physical activity, having regular physical activity, are also part of wellness, and whether that's for us as the caregiver or care partner or our loved one. When we think about what we're going to cook, that's one of the questions at the end of the day that probably all of us hate to hear, is what's for dinner? But what we can do about that is plan ahead. And that helps even if it's just for us, and certainly when it comes to cooking and preparing meals for a loved one or a care receiver. If we can do that, plan a week at a time and do our grocery shopping, then we're well on our way. One of the things that you want to do is involve the care receiver in this planning, because you may not know what their favorite foods are, or some things that they like or don't like. So involving the care receiver even in preparation whenever that's possible. So today we're going to do roasting as our technique, but we're going to do a sweet dish and a savory dish. And one of the things that we know is that it's important for all of us to eat more fruits and vegetables. So this is one way that we can do this. We are using butternut squash, which is one of the winter squash. And butternut is not the only squash we could have used in this recipe, but this is the one that we have chosen for today. And to help with time, which may be a factor, you might want to purchase already prepared or your vegetables that are pre-cut. And at the grocery store, that's where I got the butternut squash cubes today. But they had turnips and onions and peppers and you name it, and it was there. So with that, our butternut squash is already cut, and we need 2 cups of that. With our butternut squash, we want everything to be about the same size. So we're just going to pour in, and I'm going to cut a few of these that are large, but I'll come back maybe and do some of that as our time allows. But we've got 2 cups of the cubed butternut squash, and you can use it straight from the container, no need to cut or wash. But we are going to make some of these a little bit smaller so that everything will cook. When you're roasting, that's one of the keys, that's a tip, is if everything is about the same size, it will roast in about the same amount of time. So, okay, I think those others will work. And then we want 2 cups of apple. And here I've peeled the apple. We're using a Fuji, but you could use any apple variety that you like, whatever is your favorite. And you may want to have a sweet apple like this, Fuji or Gala, and maybe a tart apple. And we do have some of the Granny Smith there in our display. So we're going to just give that about an apple of this size will make about a cup. So I'm going to do just 1 cup here, and then I'll finish the rest because I've already prepared one of these for us to see, since it will have to bake. So we'll go with that. 1 apple was about 1 cup, and then I'll peel another apple and add it in just a few minutes. But let's go ahead with our other ingredients. And that includes 1 tablespoon of olive oil or vegetable oil, okay, and 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And you might go a little less on the salt. It just depends, and if you are having to watch your sodium, then you can leave that out, or you can certainly reduce the amount. Okay, now we're ready to just stir, and again I'll add 1 more apple to that, and we were going to bake this at 375 for about 20 to 30 minutes. So it'll just depend on the amount of how large our cubes are and so forth. But we'll give that a good stir. Now this is a sweet dish then. And you can see how nice and cinnamony. Cinnamon is a sweet spice, although it doesn't taste sweet, but it gives you a sweet flavor. I've prepared for our savory. We've got a sweet potato, a russet potato, carrots, and we could add to that other things I have over here. Broccoli, we could have bell pepper, cauliflower, most any of your favorites. And that's where talking with the care receiver so that you know what their favorites are will give you a good idea. Now to this we're adding about a tablespoon or 2, but I'm going to do just a little less than 1 since I don't have very much and I have already baked. So we'll add our olive oil, or it could be canola oil, and we're going to add in our spices. And I'm using an Italian seasoning. This is, for this amount, I'm doing a little less than a 1/2 teaspoon, again, because that's not very much there. We can add black pepper, you can add salt, or again, this could be sodium free. And then this helps with cleanup. We're going to just close up the bag and mix everything well. We want all of those pieces of vegetable to be coated. So with that, then when we're ready to bake, we're going to use parchment paper. And we have used that before, but this helps also with cleanup. We have a 9 by 13 pan that, and as we've said, parchment paper is different from wax paper, but you could also use foil if you don't have parchment paper. The foil would be fine. So with that, we're ready then to just pour our vegetables in. And if you were mixing another batch or putting You might even, in doing something, we're going to discard this bag now, but what we could do is keep it, if we're doing like firm vegetables like potatoes, we could start those, and then after we have roasted for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, we would put that, take that out of the oven and maybe add then our softer vegetables like the broccoli or cauliflower, peppers, onions, some things like that. So you want a single layer, and then that is ready to go into the oven. We'll be roasting at 425, but you know your oven, and if that seems too hot, then turn that back to about 375. Will also work well on that. So with a single layer, we will, let me show you one that we have finished. Okay, so here is one that in prepping, and about halfway through you'll want to stir or kind of flip your vegetables, and if I were doing this again, I would take them out this in leaving them in. But this makes it easy to serve. Either in our bowl or here on a serving tray. And then cleanup, as you see, is quite easy. So that certainly goes a long way when you're caregiving and you have lots of other responsibilities. Let's take a look at our sweet dish. This is our savory, and here is our sweet. And this is the apples, and butternut squash is actually a sweet, has a sweetness to it. So again, I stirred these about halfway through, and we will put these over onto our serving plate. And the nice thing, again, about parchment paper is that cleanup is easy, but it also lets you, you know, we could be putting these in a bowl or different ways of serving. Now, when you've prepared, this might be more than you need for your care receiver and yourself. If you're able to eat, share meals whenever you can, because we know that socialization is a big part of eating and of wellness. So share that meal when you can. And we can see what our, this is to be cooked, and this one is already ready. A lot of your caregiving, and when you're thinking about cooking for someone, think about cooking in bulk, or cooking once and eating or serving twice. So we've done that here with some chili beans that was made ahead. This also freezes well. Get some freezer containers. A bento box is another handy tool that you can put your main entree, a sauce or a vegetable, a dipping sauce, several different things there. Go ahead when you are prepping for these things and cut up some vegetables. These carrots and celery sticks are ready for munching. We want to make the healthy choice the easy choice. So by having the vegetable sticks ready, by having some grapes, and we want to eat the rainbow, so having a multiple colors, we'll get different nutrients. using things, making some banana bread and having that ready for a breakfast or a snack. As you can see, it can be a lot of fun cooking for your care receiver, and involve them as much as you can. We hope you enjoy cooking. If you have any questions, feel free to call me here at Cooperative Extension. Again, I'm Nancy Abassi-Akong, Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent here in Cleveland County. Thank you.